Hello and welcome to tomorrow's headlines. Today I'm your host, Robin Cunningham with Fireside Grace Ministries. We have a lot to talk about today. We're talking about Solana, DOGE, Bitcoin, Chase Bank, sex trafficking, the face peelers, Las Pelacaras, or whatever they're called in Peru. These aliens attacking this Iquitu tribe in Peru, and more. So you're going to want to stay for this whole thing. This is going to be probably a little bit longer one, but let's go ahead and roll that intro and check it out, shall we? All right, welcome back. Okay, so we're going to show some interesting video and some pictures in here, which I'm going to have to superimpose. I'll watch them on my phone so I know when to add them in and all that good stuff. But this is going to be very interesting for you. Okay, so first of all, let's go ahead and jump into this. Aliens in Peru. Is this what we're really seeing? I'm predisposed to say yes because I do believe in this stuff. I did not believe in aliens when I first got saved, but then I started reading the Bible and seeing where it says that he sends them from the farthest reaches of the heavens as the weapons of his indignation, the weapons of his wrath, or however you want to say it, Isaiah 13:5. And then I saw in the Bible that they're not fallen angels. They are not actual beings that God created on other planets. They are, in fact, altered human beings, and the DNA that people have studied and had tested on that as well have shown that they are altered human beings also. So let's talk about Los Pelacaras, or however you say it. I'm going to say it like an American, Los Pelacaras, okay, or the face peelers of Peru. Okay, so first thing I want to point out is these beings were... they're probably the descendants of the beings that were altering themselves originally around the time of Nimrod. So that's something we'll get into. But they very closely, similarly relate to the legends of the Aztec. And one in particular is their god Xapit. I think that's how you pronounce it, which translates our Lord the Flayed One. And Xapit is also associated with the arrival of spring, when the earth covers itself with a new coat of vegetation and exchanges its dead skin for a new one. So this Totec god was worshipped before the rainy season in March, all right, and that's the month or 20-day period dedicated to him called, I'm not sure I want to even try and pronounce this, Tlaquechipiz Puelaziti Anahuatal? I don't know. This means the act of flaying men. Flaying men, if you're not familiar with it, means to peel a person's skin off, to skin them. And this god would allegedly peeled off his own skin, blah, blah, the mythos goes. So I'm not going to go into it. The reason I point this out is because the remains of large giants that would do the same thing have been found in Peru previously, okay? And so with this Xapit, these beings that they worshipped, that they called gods, were not just made-up beings that they just happened to worship. They were actual beings that were alive that they turned into gods. And it says that in the Bible, okay? So Genesis 6:4 tells us that these are the men of renown. Those are the sons and daughters of the daughters of Adam, the Ha-Adam, okay? Whatever the word is for daughters of Adam. So let's take a look here. We'll get back into here. All right, so the reason I point this out is because the remains of large giants have been seen in Peru, have been discovered in Peru. Obviously, they have a lot on the in the Peruvian museums of these giants, elongated skulls, and so forth. Now, L.A. Marzulli, who's a Christian, has discovered some himself and has actually recovered DNA and sampled that DNA as well and had it tested in labs in various places without sharing any information to see what the results were. And I think it was like 7 or 10 labs that he went to said the results are showing that this is a human mixed from the Middle East, mixed with some unknown DNA they don't know, and that could only mean that it was a different species of human being. All right, he discovered these giants were approximately 7 to 8 feet tall, that their eyes, when they're studied, were 33% larger than human eyes, and their foramen magnum is not in the right location. Now, your foramen magnum does not get relocated or moved as you grow. It's in the spot that it's in. It doesn't shift from cradle headboarding. So this is stuff that if you're interested in, you go to lamarzulli.net, I think it is, or .com/streaming, and it's the Watchers video. I think it's Watchers 6 or Watchers 7. Get them all. It's only like $20 to stream all of them. I mean, it's cheap. It's a lot of good information. It's well worth watching. All right. Okay, so also there have been exobiological studies, or exobiological entities. They call them EBOs, or exobiological organisms. They call them EBOs. They think that they're manufactured. We would call them grays. They are the small mantises, apparently, mantis-looking creatures, the little 4-foot gray aliens that people hear about or whatever. So there has been studies on these that there's been supposed leaks that show that these EBOs have had some kind of hive mentality. They didn't have genitalia or butts, so they assumed that they excreted their food through the skin, and that the food that they took in was some sort of high protein, high caloric paste or liquid, and that they excreted that through their skin, and then that caused their skin to have a ammonia-like odor. They also tested the DNA and found that it has like a combination of multiple insects or other animals or DNAs from this planet, and then one unknown DNA that they can't figure out. You could say it's the serpent. You could say the dragon. I believe it's probably Leviathan DNA. But you could say it was fallen angel DNA. Ultimately we don't know, but it's dragon DNA. And that's what it is. I'm sure that they actually know what it is. But they're going to come and try and say that the reason this happens is because consciousness causes us to, consciousness will do weird things and creates life similarly, this, that, and the other thing, or whatever. Okay. But these are actual beings that were altered. They were created on Earth and from Earth. And they were created, some of them, thousands of years ago. And they've been reproducing themselves for that long. That was not a very strange thing to me to say. So we see this evidence of genetic manipulation in things like Daniel 7:4. When he's talking about the end of days, he says, talking about the first beast, the first was like a lion and had wings like an eagle. Then as I looked, its wings were plucked off. It was lifted up from the ground, made to stand on 2 feet like a man, and given the soul of a man. So they took this creature that was already a hybrid, did a little altering on it, removed its wings, made it so that it stood up like a man, so it would have the form of a man, resemble a man, and then gave it a man's soul, a man's heart. And it's not just talking about his physical heart, it's talking about his soul, his mind, will, and emotions. So they made this animal and then added man to it. Okay, so this is what we're seeing. Now, we see this same alteration in Jude 1:7 and Romans 1:23. In Jude 1:7, it talks about strange flesh. That word for strange flesh is heteros sarkos. Heteros means altered or transformed or changed. It doesn't mean strange. It means altered, changed, or transformed. So they were seeking after what? Not just seeking after some people that they didn't know or homosexual acts or anything like that. It was seeking after altered or transformed flesh. Well, in Romans 1:23 says the same thing. And they changed the glory of the incorruptible God into an image like to corruptible man, and to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things. Now, that's a direct revelation right back to Genesis 6:4, when God created man and beast, or when God destroyed man and beast and creeping things and birds, which is what dinosaurs are birds and lizards mixed together. If you actually go back and look, they believe that Tyrannosaurus rex, there's various different raptors. There's a Mongolese raptor. from that was discovered in Mongolia that has the feathers basically of like a parrot or some sort of colorful bird, and it's mixed with a lizard. I believe it was velociraptors had feathers. T-Rexes, when they were born, had feathers, and then somebody did a study on DNA from a T-Rex fossil that they found, which they, first of all, if the T-Rex went extinct 65 million years ago or however long, there should be no DNA, because after about 100,000 years, 300,000 years, something like that, DNA should no longer be able to be tested. And really, it might be less than that. But we know that all of that dinosaur stuff happened approximately 6,000 years ago at the when the flood happened. It was actually more about 5,000 years ago, 4,500 years ago, somewhere around there. It was 1,660 some odd years after the fall of man. So within 1,600 years of fallen, we had completely corrupted the world. Well, they tested that and found out that it was some sort of DNA most closely resembling a crocodile or something along that lines, mixed with an ostrich. And the interesting thing is that is what Darwin believed when he came up with the theory of evolution, that the creatures went from smaller to bigger, and he was actually on the right track, that they mixed, that they became the bigger dinosaurs. And then they said, well, we have to change that because that's too close to the truth. So it has to be they were bigger and then became smaller. But it's weird how in several thousand years of existence, we haven't seen any actual real evolution the way we think, unless it's been altered for or caused to happen by us, but it hasn't happened naturally. But listen, remember, it says they changed the glory of the incorruptible God, into an image made like to corruptible man. Well, in 1 Corinthians 11:7, what does it say? For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of God, but the woman is the glory of man. So, man is the image and glory of God, and they corrupted the glory. They changed. That word for changed means to be transformed, altered, or exchanged. So they altered or transformed the glory of the incorruptible God into the image of corruptible man. Isn't that interesting? We are the glory of God. So if they changed the glory of God for the image of man, then what did they do? They altered, changed, or transformed God's image. And what were we made in? God's image. Okay? Now, getting back onto Los Palacras, or however you say it, Palacaras, there's the community leader. I don't know if you call him a chief or what they call him down there, but his name is Jairo? Jairo. Look, I'm not very good at these names. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name. Okay, let's just say the community leader said that these beings are aliens. They appear to be armored like the Green Goblin from Spider-Man. Now, if you think about it, this is the very similar description that was given to us by Angel, who was the one that saw these very same looking creatures in the backyard at his house. Said that they were about 8 to 10 feet tall, huge heads, large eyes, very large eyes that reflected in the light, and that they had silver-looking skin, kind of like a muscular armor on. But he didn't say it looked like the Green Goblin, but they did. Also, if you look at the Green Goblin wore armor that looks like muscles. If you look at the Green Goblin, he has an elongated head and larger ears. So that's not a coincidence that the Green Goblin is based off of what looks like aliens. And so they are pointed off this. They're not actually aliens, by the way. I just want to remind you of that. They're altered beings. They are not human beings. God doesn't consider them human either. He calls them beasts in every single instance. Okay? So he says here that he shot one of them twice, and it wasn't injured. It rose up and disappeared. So they hovered. So what was happening is they said they hovered up, they rose up, they hovered up about 3 feet off the ground, or a meter off of the ground, and then they would just vanish like Predator from the movie Predator, where it would just go invisible. They had some sort of cloaking or something like that, which we know is actually just electrogravitational manipulation on a smaller scale that they get inside that bubble, basically. He said his head is long. He actually said his head is huge, very big. He had a mask on or something like that. That was very long, and his eyes are yellowish. What they see, with what they see you well, and they leave. They are experts at escaping. That's what he said. So that's a rough translation of what he's saying. Some villagers describe these beings as pelacaras, which means face peelers. Okay, now this part lines up with the god. So this is just really a reemergence of these creatures that were already here in the past, right? They were, at least their descendants were. I don't believe that they actually went anywhere. I think they just went into hiding in the mountains, and they weren't out in the open anymore after the conquistadors came. When the conquistadors came, they all reported having found giants in that land. And when they came back, there were no more giants. A lot of them were killed by them. Native Americans killed them, and so forth. But they were described as terrorizing the tribes. They would cannibalize the people. They would do all kinds of things, and they did not like that. And they went and murdered them. So who would like being cannibalized? Who would like being eaten or terrorized, or constantly at war with these beings, right? And most of the Native Americans described them as tall, white, and red hair. So there's that. All right. So Xapit, the Aztec would worship this god around springtime, and they would kill people and let their blood drip on the ground, and they would flay or peel their skin off and dye the skin gold and then wear it. Okay. And so Los Pelacaras, or however you say it, means face peelers. And, there's a video that was around there for a while, and it got taken down, removed, where they pulled this guy out of the water, and he had his face surgically removed. That could be fake. It could not be. It came out about a month before this attack happened. These attacks in Peru have been happening for the past month, to the point where they said they need to call on the Navy. Of course, the government's official stance is that it's illegal gold miners who are trying to scare the people away from these gold mines on their land that they have a right to because it's on their land, and that they're using jetpacks and hoverboards. Okay. Well, jetpacks and hoverboards are very loud and don't last very long, and they don't make people 7 feet tall. They also don't have glowing red lights at the heel, and you can hear them, and when you get shot, they don't just disappear or vanish. Just saying. All right. Now, that's what they're saying. And so that's my take on that. So I'll give you the biblical narrative on that, and also give you what my take is on that as well. So I'm going to show you a video here real quick, which is a video of the Pelacaras.
Ahí, dale, dale, ahí, camina allí. Vete, de su huerta, vete, de su huerta. De su huerta, de su huerta, vecino. De su huerta, vete. Rápido, rápido. Jonathan, no entres. ¡Lárgate, no porquería! ¡Lárgate! Ahí sigue, ahí sigue. Ahí sigue. Ahí sigue.
So if you notice in this video, they're shining the flashlight at the tree, and you can see the creature very clearly in the tree. And so we're going to show you a zoomed in and unblurred, unpixelated version of the picture here. Also notice that they are panicking and terrified of what they're seeing. Notice that the description, the creature, there's actually 2 or 3 of them in the tree as well. Okay, and then here is the unpixelated version of the picture, and you can very clearly see the outline of the legs, arms and shoulders, and the head. To me, it's as clear as day. Okay. So that's pretty intense stuff. So let's go ahead and move into the remainder of the tomorrow's headlines today. now that we've done that. Remember to like and subscribe, share with your friends and family, get the word out, share this video. If you have any questions about the biblical narrative of all this stuff, please let me know. I'm more than willing to share it with you, the information and all of that stuff, the research. I would just put it out there for free for everybody, honestly. And it is kind of out there for free. Go to firesidegrace.com. You'll find it. Just look around. So here's tomorrow's headlines today. Coca-Cola comes under scrutiny for its pro-trans agenda and will get boycotted. That's not necessarily a bad thing anyway, since they use the taste buds from aborted fetal stem cells to test their product. So we, as Christians, should really not be drinking Coca-Cola. So I don't drink it. I don't have anything to do with Coca-Cola. Looks like someone's turning the lights on and off back there. Let's see. Okay, so evidence will come forward showing that certain elected official only got about 40 million votes and didn't get as many as what they told us. So that's about half of the votes that they supposedly got. So that means the other guy got more than that. That's all we can say. Okay, so next, it will be shown that the nation actually did have more registered voters and more people show up to the polls than any previous year. However, it will be proven that it wasn't Democrats that set the new standard. Leave in Jesus' name. Okay, several Dallas churches will be exposed for being involved in sexual abuse of children and child trafficking and other kinds of abuse as well, which is not good. It's never good. I saw while I was praying that the Solana token would hit $25. I don't know what it was at the time that I saw it, but I looked into that right before I started recording, and it was at like 23 something right now. I guess the Lord just wanted to encourage people to know that it is going to go back up. I saw Bitcoin going up to $47,000 and staying there for a while, or over 47,000 or around there, somewhere around there. All right, it hovered around there for a while. And then eventually it went up to 49,000, and that's the farthest that I've seen it go so far. So there's going to be some recovery. The Lord showed me that DOGE would hit 17 cents not too far in the future. I also saw Cardano growing over $2 and hovering there for quite a while. So there's going to be some people investing in those. And then the Lord told me that there was going to be an explosion of growth in the economy. He said that you will see gas prices come down, wages go up, jobs being made, national budget cuts, tax cuts, businesses coming back to America, and more. So this is all good news. It all kind of sounds like we're going to have a not Democrat in office. So we'll see what all goes on there. The Lord showed me this is a weird thing, that there would be a baby diaper shortage. I'm not sure what brand, but kind of like when there was a shortage of what was it? Formula, which affected us pretty heavily because the formula that was shorted, and they actually had millions of cases just sitting at the borders in Mexico and in Canada. Millions of cases just sitting there. But it was Nutramigen, and that's what JoJo needed when he was still on the feeding tube, because he needed hypoallergenic stuff because he has a dairy protein allergy, a whey allergy, and soy, as far as we know. And so he has eczema-related, allergy-related eczema because of that. So if he gets something with it in it, he just breaks out over his whole body, and it takes us a while to get it out of his system and really get it under control. It's very frustrating. So not frustrating in the sense that we get mad at him or irritated, but it's frustrating in the fact that, we'll be doing so good, and then he just sneaks something he's not supposed to have because he's about to be too. Also, our wedding anniversary is on Friday. Asher's birthday is the 22nd, and on Saturday we are having Asher and Joseph's birthday party, so that should be awesome. If you'd like to get them a gift or anything like that, firesidegrace.com/partner with us. PayPal, Reformers Church. Remember to like and subscribe and all that stuff. Okay, and the last thing that the Lord showed me was that we would see sex trafficking linked to Chase Bank and other big banks, and that would be exposed. And that would be even coming forward that it was Epstein related, who didn't kill himself, by the way. And I know that that joke's been dead, like Epstein's not dead, for the past like 2 or 3 years, but I'm going to continue to say it until they remove us from YouTube for saying it. The last vestige of freedom of speech. I don't know, like, if that's it's like it's the fists. Everybody uses a fist for something, and someone will be like, that's a white power fist, or that's the Black Panther fist, or that's the Irish fist, or that's the fist of resistance, that's the communist fist. It's a fist, okay? It's a fist of resistance in this case, I guess. All right, that's all that I have for today. I love you guys. Be blessed, and I will see you again real soon. Until next time. Bye.